this current crew, and I know you're both obviously very keen Limerick fans, and we did have the All-Stars the other night, and we all know what Matt's opinion on the All-Stars, and we should be going for 15 Limerick fellas every year nearly. But I suppose, while we are on the subject of Limerick hurling and we had the All-Stars, Liam, what was your, I suppose, immediate thoughts after the All-Stars?
I suppose it's probably an argument we have almost every year as to what exactly what's the critique, what's the actual rules for picking the All-Stars, because it seems to be a moving target as to how they can move players around some years and rigidly fix players for a position another year as it suits. I don't know. I mean, 7 All-Stars, it's not bad. Certainly, I suppose we only got 6 in 2018, did we? Yeah, 6 in 2018. Yeah. But if you consider particularly, I think, a couple of things that I suppose that people didn't count on, I don't think. I mean, we played most of the season, bar one game and a bit, without a generational hurler in Cian Lynch. And I think the work that the likes of Will O'Donoghue, for example, had to do to compensate, like, when you go to a game, it's only when you see the likes of Cian Lynch in action. I know he does all the magnificent first touch and his tricks and all that, but it's the space he creates around him and draws fellas in. That was missing for most of Limerick's games. So all the players around that quadrant in the middle of the field, that vital area, had to work so much harder, maybe even sometimes just to break even in games. And like Will O'Donoghue in particular, I feel sorry for him that he probably was overlooked. Even the likes of Tom Morrissey, to be honest with you, I think these lads worked really hard, a lot of thankless work. And of course, I suppose, look, Sean Finn is the one that everyone's talking about as well. I suppose we could go on and on and on about debating it. It's just funny that the way that the criteria that's required to get an All-Star seems to be a moving target over the years. And I'm going to go way back now, and Matt will remember this. In 1973, Eamon Cregan scored something like 3 goals and 11 points in the Munster Championship. And for an All-Ireland final, they moved him back to centre-back. And he played an almost man of the match, a pivotal role in Limerick winning it, snuffed out Pat Delaney. Cregan got no All-Star at all. Yes, Eddie Kerr, who didn't even play in the All-Ireland final, now granted he probably had a great Leinster final, got an All-Star. That makes no sense to me. But again, that's just the way I think about it. What do you think, Matt?
I agree with you, Liam. I'm perplexed by how they come to their conclusions. Jack is smirking at me now because he knows full well, how I feel about it. And I agree totally with Will Donoghue. Now, last week, Jack and I, we were trying to second guess these august body of gentlemen, and like we did come up with the 2 midfielders, but they're not that was not necessarily the 2 midfielders that we would select.
Yeah.
But we were second guessing what they were doing, and I think Will O'Donoghue was desperate, unlucky. Now, of course, I'm really pleased that they didn't make the mother of all gaffes in the goalkeeping position that that Nicky Quaid has got it, and rightly so. But the gaff has moved from number 1 to number 2, not far. Because I think what I would say, shame that Sean Finn didn't get an All-Star. Without doubt, the best, most consistent cornerback in the country in 2022. Not a doubt and act about it. I don't think there's anybody could bring up a vestige of a cogent argument to say that there was anybody better than him. Likewise, you move out along. We thought, because of the vagaries and how they go about it, as you explained there, Liam, I thought the Declan Hannon wouldn't get one, because I thought they'd be on accommodating this one and that one and the other one in the half-back line, but thankfully he got it. Your point about Tom Morrissey is valid. Seamus Flanagan, and the Munster final of 2022 was eulogised at the All-Stars till the cows come home. Seamus Flanagan got 8 points from playing that game, and he didn't even get a mention.
Yeah.
Like we won 2 in a row, we got 12 All-Stars. We win 3 in a row, and we get 7. I
Yeah.
remember the day, and you probably remember the team. I don't know if you do or not. But where the nominations consisted of nominations for goalkeeper, nominations for right fullback, and left fullback. And the successful All-Star came out of that group. But now they have open license. It's open season. Yeah. We will name the defenders. You know, look, how Sean Finn isn't an All-Star for the 5th time. I don't want to be annoying myself, to be honest.
Yeah, you would think about too much. I think Sean Finn and William Donoghue are definitely the most aggrieved. That's where I was laughing, was that I remember Richard McCarthy won one in 13. It was the first All-Star we had in 6 years. We had 1. We were delighted, and now we're giving out about having 7, that we should have more. But